Your life is in disarray, not because of what surrounds you, but because of what you carry within. It's not the city, it's not the job, it's not the partner. The real chaos is born in your mind and in your decisions. And if you don't face it now, it will continue to rule every step you take, even if you try to run away. The Stoics understood this with brutal clarity. The most important battle is never outside, it's always within you. Marcus Aurelius said it bluntly, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Do you understand? It's not what happens outside that determines your destiny. It's what you tolerate in your head and what you allow in your heart. Until you train your focus, distraction will consume you. Until you control your emotions, they will control you. And as long as you keep waiting for the perfect moment to change, you'll be giving away the only thing you can't get back: time. This video is not a decoration or a speech to make you feel good for a few minutes. It's a direct hit, an invitation to stand in front of the mirror and recognize that no one is going to organize your life. You build the order with discipline, with courage, with decisions that discomfort. Epictetus taught it firmly. No one is free who is not master of himself. And that freedom begins when you stop justifying yourself and choose to act. What you're about to hear are 10 Stoic practices to transform your life from the inside out. These are not gentle advices, these are challenges that discomfort, because growth never comes from comfort. This is not about perfection, it's about discipline. It's not about waiting, it's about acting. If you stay until the end, you'll understand that your biggest enemy is not outside. It's you. And at the same time, there also lies your greatest ally. Are you ready to face it? 1. Train your concentration with daily discipline. A scattered mind is like an overflowing river. It runs in all directions, sweeps everything in its path, but does not reach anywhere with force. However, when you manage to channel it, that same water that seemed chaotic becomes energy capable of moving mills. That's how concentration works. Without discipline, it's a mess. With daily practice, it's pure power. And if you don't learn to control it, you'll live at the mercy of every distraction that crosses your path. The most common mistake is to think that concentration is a natural gift, when in reality, it is a trained skill. Marcus Aurelius understood it better than anyone when he wrote that the mind becomes invincible when it focuses on what depends on it. What does it mean? That your attention is your battlefield, and if you don't decide what to protect, the world will decide for you. Today, you are not only competing against your fears, but also against notifications, social networks, empty conversations, and everything that steals seconds that will never return. If you really want results, start with a simple but powerful practice. Set aside some time each day to work without interruptions. You don't need endless hours, just 30 minutes of total focus. During that time, your mission is to resist the temptation to quit and stand firm. By repeating it every day, you shape your mind just like a muscle that strengthens with constant repetitions. The initial discomfort is part of the process, because only by enduring it do you build real discipline. The second piece of advice is to clean up your environment. You can't expect to have a focused mind if your space reflects disorder. Seneca warned that small losses are what ruin an entire life, and each accepted distraction is time that never returns. Turn off notifications, tidy up your desk, define what is essential, and eliminate what is unnecessary. Make your environment a supportive terrain and not a sabotage one. External silence will help you cultivate internal silence. You also need clarity of purpose. Whoever doesn't know where they're going ends up lost on any path. Write down the 3 most important actions of your day each morning and commit to fulfilling them without excuses. When the temptation to distract yourself appears, remember that every defended minute is a victory against your own chaos. And these daily victories are the ones that, accumulated, forge an orderly life. Training concentration is not comfortable, but it is essential. Every time you choose to focus, you become stronger than yesterday. Discipline is not measured in grand speeches, it is measured in the minutes you protect with determination. True mastery of life begins when you are the master of your attention. Concentration is not magic or fleeting inspiration. It is consistency, resistance to noise, and the decision to direct your life instead of leaving it adrift. 2. Strengthen your body to strengthen your mind. A tall and sturdy building is not held up by beautiful walls, but by deep and solid foundations. The same is true for the mind. No matter how much you read, how much you reflect, or how much you want to grow spiritually, if your body is weak, your mind will wobble like a house built on sand. The body is not an accessory, it is the support on which everything you think, decide, and do rests. Pretending to have discipline, clarity, and resilience without taking care of your physical self is like asking an exhausted horse to win a race. It simply won't happen. The Stoics understood this precisely. Seneca said that the body must be treated with rigor so that it does not disobey the soul. Physical strength is not vanity or a luxury, it is the basis of your mental strength. When you train your body, you also train your character. Daily physical effort teaches you to endure discomfort, to discipline yourself in constancy, and to resist when the mind wants to give up. That's why a trained body becomes a silent ally, a constant reminder that you can do more than your laziness wants you to believe. The most practical advice is simple. Exercise every day, even if it's just for half an hour. You don't need expensive equipment or complicated routines, just the willingness to move your body with intention. Run, do push-ups, jump, walk intensely, whatever, but do it. The important thing is to maintain consistency, because every day that you overcome the internal voice that says, "I don't feel like it," you are also strengthening your mind. The physique not only transforms with repetitions, your character does too. Another key practice is to take care of what you consume. The mind cannot function clearly if your body is intoxicated with excess junk food, alcohol, or vices that deteriorate it. Epictetus warned that he who is a slave to his appetites is not free. And here, the lesson is direct. What you eat, what you drink, what you repeat in your daily routine determines your energy level, and therefore your ability to think clearly. Choosing what enters your body is an act of discipline and respect for yourself. Rest is also part of strengthening. Don't confuse rest with laziness, because it's not about surrendering to inactivity, but about giving the body what it needs to recover and continue performing. Sleeping well is not a luxury, it's a requirement for mental clarity and emotional resilience. Strengthening the body is not about seeking appearance or recognition, it's about building a solid base for the mind to govern firmly. A strong body gives you energy to face challenges, clarity to make decisions, and resilience to not break in adversity. Each push-up, each mile run, each healthy meal chosen is a silent declaration that you choose to be your own master. The body is the temple of the mind, and if you train it rigorously, your inner self will find the power to stand firm in the face of any storm. 3. Change your attitude before changing your environment. The world can be painted in new colors, but if you look with gray eyes, nothing will change in your life. Many believe that the solution is to move to a different city, change partners, or look for another job, but they deceive themselves because they drag the same internal disorder wherever they go. The environment matters, but your attitude determines everything. You can be in the midst of difficulties and feel firm, or be in a paradise and live bitterly. The difference is not outside, it's in the way you choose to interpret and respond to what happens to you. Marcus Aurelius wrote that, "If something external bothers you, it is not that which disturbs you, but your judgment about it." That phrase reveals the raw truth. Your mind has the power to transform the burden into a lesson or the wound into an opportunity. If your attitude is of a victim, you will always find culprits. If your attitude is of strength, you will find paths. The first transformation you should seek is not to change people or the environment, but your way of facing them. The practical advice begins with observing your thoughts. Every time you say, "This is unbearable," stop and ask yourself, is it really unbearable, or am I refusing to learn from it? Changing your internal dialogue is like adjusting the compass of a ship. You may not stop the storm, but you decide where to sail. Another step is to practice conscious gratitude. It sounds like a cliché, but being grateful, even in the midst of difficulty, changes your perception of what you live. It doesn't mean settling, it means recognizing that there is always something useful to rescue from any situation. Epictetus taught that men are disturbed not by the facts, but by what they think about the facts. If you are grateful, you are choosing to give another meaning to what happens. It is also key to surround yourself with mental discipline. Every morning, establish the attitude with which you are going to act. Don't leave it to chance. Decide to be resilient. Decide to keep calm. Decide not to let yourself be dragged down by negativity. At first, you will feel like you are pretending, but over time, your mind will align with that daily decision. Your environment will not improve immediately, but your way of being in it will, and that is enough to start transforming it. Changing your attitude is not about fake smiling or hiding what hurts. It is about accepting reality and responding firmly. It's about looking at what you can't change and using it as a gym to train your character. Life does not adjust to your whims, but your mind can adjust to any life. When you manage to master your perception, the environment will no longer have the power to destroy you. Your inner strength will be the one to bring order to the external chaos, and that is the greatest victory a Stoic can achieve. 4. Free yourself from the vices that enslave you. The heaviest chains are not always made of iron. Sometimes they are invisible and disguised as habits you repeat without questioning. You think you are making decisions, but in reality, your body, your impulse, your need to escape discomfort is obeying. A vice is not only smoking or drinking excessively, it is also checking your phone every 5 minutes, eating uncontrollably, giving in to laziness, or depending on the validation of others. Anything that governs your actions without your permission is a master, and you are its slave. Epictetus was blunt in saying that no one is free who is not master of himself. This means that as long as a vice is in control, your freedom is only an appearance. You may feel momentary pleasure, but then comes emptiness, guilt, and the certainty that you lost another battle with yourself. Life does not get organized when you accumulate more distractions. It gets organized when you break the chains that take away your energy and will. The first piece of advice is to identify with brutal honesty what dominates you. Make a list of those habits that you repeat, even knowing that they destroy you. Don't sugarcoat it, don't make excuses, acknowledge it. Awareness is the first step to freeing yourself. Then, establish a clear plan to reduce its power over you. It's not about waiting to feel like changing, it's about acting even when your mind begs to stay the same. One Stoic method is to practice voluntary abstinence. Seneca spoke of the value of getting used to scarcity so as not to depend on the superfluous. You can choose a day without social media, a week without alcohol, a light meal when your body demands excess. These acts, though small, are freedom workouts. They remind you that you are in charge, not your impulses. Another practical step is to replace the vice with useful discipline. It's not enough to just give up a habit. You need to fill that void with something that strengthens your life. If you give up laziness, replace it with exercise. If you let go of comparison, replace it with gratitude. If you stop depending on validation, replace it with internal achievements. The mind needs direction, and if you don't give it, it will return to old patterns. Freedom does not mean never feeling temptations, it means not giving in to them. Each time you resist, you are forging character. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you free yourself a little more. Vices are chains, and each conscious action is a blow against that metal that keeps you trapped. Freeing yourself from what enslaves you is painful because vice always promises immediate pleasure. But if you choose the difficult path, you will find the most valuable reward, being master of yourself. And when you govern yourself, no one and nothing can subdue you. That is true strength, the kind that no external enemy can take from you. 5. Decide with reason, not with emotion. Emotions are like a turbulent sea, waves that strike with force and can sink you if you try to navigate without control. Reason, on the other hand, is the rudder that keeps the course firm even when the storm seems unbearable. Whoever lives guided only by emotion is a ship adrift, slave to the wind and the waves, unable to reach a safe harbor. But whoever puts reason in command turns even the tempest into an opportunity to demonstrate mastery. The Stoics had it clear. Marcus Aurelius repeated that if you are distressed by something external, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment about it. That judgment is the filter of reason, the ability to decide not from impulsive reaction, but from the clarity that reflection provides. Emotion pushes you to speak when you should be silent, to surrender when you should resist, or to attack when you should wait. Reason, on the other hand, allows you to stop, evaluate, and act in a way that your decision does not become your condemnation. The first piece of advice is to learn to pause. In any situation that upsets you, wait a few seconds before reacting. It may seem little, but those seconds are the difference between exploding and responding firmly. Epictetus taught that it is not things that harm us, but how we interpret them, and that pause is the space in which you decide how to interpret what is happening. Do not rush. Emotion seeks urgency. Reason demands calm. Another step is to ask yourself what consequences your decision will bring in the future. Seneca warned that anger is a brief madness because at the moment it seems just, but later it leaves scars. Before acting on an impulse, think, will this decision give me peace tomorrow, or will it bring me regret? Reason focuses on the lasting, emotion only wants immediate relief. It is also vital to train the mind with daily practices. Write down your thoughts, review your past reactions, analyze when you acted calmly and when you did not. Self-reflection is a powerful exercise because it allows you to detect patterns and break them. If you do not observe yourself, you will repeat the same mistakes over and over again, believing that the world is to blame, when in reality it is you who does not master your emotions. Deciding with reason does not mean repressing what you feel. It means recognizing the emotion, observing it, and deciding not to be a slave to it. Emotion can warn you of danger or remind you of an injustice, but it should not have the last word. Reason is the one that evaluates, chooses, and governs. And when it governs, life becomes orderly because your actions do not depend on what happens outside, but on the clarity you build within. Whoever learns to decide with reason becomes invulnerable to manipulation because no one can control someone who masters their own judgment. This is the Stoic victory, to be master of your mind in a world that lives enslaved by its impulses. 6. Stop procrastinating and act now. Time is like sand between your fingers. The more you squeeze it believing you have control, the faster it slips away. Procrastination is that sweet self-deception that promises a perfect tomorrow, but in reality steals your today. You convince yourself that there will be an ideal moment, that tomorrow you will have more energy, that later it will be easier, but the truth is that tomorrow does not exist, only this instant does. Every minute you postpone is a minute that never comes back, and by the time you understand this, you will have lost too much. Seneca wrote that, "It's not that we have little time, it's that we waste a lot." And that is the root of procrastination, the illusion that time is abundant and infinite. It is not. Every time you postpone a project, a decision, or an action, you are deciding to remain stagnant. Life is not ordered by wishes, it is ordered by concrete steps. The Stoic understands that present action is the only place where real power can be exercised. The first piece of advice is to stop waiting for motivation. Procrastination lives off the idea that you must feel like acting. That is a lie. You don't need desire, you need decision. Start with the smallest thing. 5 minutes of work, a brief task, a minimal action that breaks the inertia. Once you take the first step, movement generates movement. Another practical tip is to divide the large into the manageable. Many procrastinate because the goal seems overwhelming and the mind rejects it. Divide your goal into parts, focus on advancing in one, and let small achievements build momentum. Remember that Marcus Aurelius insisted on living in the present, not carrying the full weight of the future at once, because all we possess is the now. It is also useful to identify the traps that feed your procrastination. Ask yourself, what excuses do I always repeat? What distractions do I seek when I need to act? Make a list of these leaks and eliminate them at the root. If the phone steals hours from you, turn it off. If disorder slows you down, organize your space. Procrastination is not overcome with wishes, it is overcome with concrete strategies. A powerful Stoic exercise is to remember finiteness. Death is not a morbid thought, it is an urgent reminder that time is running out. When you procrastinate, you act as if you were eternal, as if you could recover what you let pass. It's not like that. Every day you live is a countdown, and the sooner you accept it, the clearer you will have that acting now is your only option. To stop procrastinating is not to do everything in one day, it is to decide not to postpone what you can start. Every action taken in the present breaks the chain of excuses that traps you. Mastery of life is won step by step, decision by decision, and when you choose to act now, you free yourself from the biggest burden, the lie that there will always be time. 7. Build your worth from within. A diamond doesn't need applause to shine. Its value doesn't depend on who looks at it or how many recognize it. It simply has it because its nature holds it. People, however, forget this and spend much of their lives seeking others to confirm their worth. They strive to fit in, to be accepted, to collect external validation as if they were coins, but those coins rust and disappear. True worth is not measured by what others say about you. It is measured by what you build within yourself. The Stoics knew that depending on the opinion of others is a form of slavery. Epictetus expressed it clearly. If you want to be free, despise what does not depend on you. And it does not depend on you what others think, what they approve or criticize. The only thing you really control is your character, your discipline, and your integrity. That is the ground where you should work every day, because it is the only one where you can grow without fear of someone taking it away from you. The first practical advice is to stop measuring your life by the standards of others. Ask yourself, is what I do consistent with my values, or do I just do it to please? If the answer is the latter, you are mortgaging your freedom. Start making decisions based on what really matters to you, even if it makes others uncomfortable. That discomfort is a sign that you are leaving behind the dependence on approval. Another piece of advice is to cultivate personal discipline. Inner worth does not come from nice phrases, but from fulfilling what you promise yourself. When you say, "I will train tomorrow," and you train, you build confidence in yourself. When you decide, "I will not waste time on distractions," and you fulfill it, you reinforce your character. Respect for yourself is forged in those silent acts that no one applauds, but that you know you fulfilled. It is also necessary to learn to be alone without feeling empty. Whoever needs constant company to feel valuable has never discovered their real strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the noble man is the one who is self-sufficient. Dedicate time to solitude, reflect, write. Work on your growth without depending on external looks. At first it hurts, but over time you discover that your worth is not in how many surround you, but in the quality of your own being. Building your worth from within is a continuous process. It doesn't mean ignoring the world, it means not subordinating yourself to it. Listening to criticism can be useful, but they should never define you. Applause can cheer, but they should never become your sustenance. The root of your strength must be in you, in the certainty that you live with integrity, discipline, and consistency. When you achieve this, nothing external can take away your dignity. That is the highest value, the one that no one grants and no one can take away. The value that sustains you even when the world is silent, even when recognition never comes. That internal value is the true wealth of the Stoic. 8. Embrace progress over perfection. Perfectionism is like chasing the horizon. It seems like you're getting closer, but you never reach it. There is always something more to improve, always a detail that is missing, always a step that seems insufficient. Those who live enslaved by perfection never celebrate, never advance, never feel complete. Progress, on the other hand, is real, tangible, and constant. Even if it's small, even if it's not perfect, progress is what transforms your life. The Stoics understood that seeking the impossible is to lose peace. Marcus Aurelius said that the perfection of life consists in living each day as if it were the last, without anxiety, without apathy, and without falsehood. This sentence encloses a forceful truth. Life is not about achieving a perfect state, but about acting firmly and coherently at each moment. When you accept this, you stop punishing yourself for not reaching an unattainable ideal and start valuing the daily discipline that moves you forward. The first piece of advice is to acknowledge your progress, even if it's small. Ask yourself, am I a bit more disciplined today than yesterday? Did I advance even a step towards my goal? Those steps count, because greatness never arrives all at once. It comes from the sum of small victories. Celebrating progress is to value effort instead of living enslaved by the idea of perfection. Another practical tip is to focus on the process. Perfection obsesses over the result, while progress focuses on the action. If you train your body, don't compare yourself with the ideal version. Compare yourself with the past version of yourself. If you work on your concentration, don't demand to be at 100% from the start. Recognize that every minute of regained attention is a conquest. Comparing yourself with others only feeds frustration. Comparing yourself with yourself feeds discipline. It's also key to change your internal dialogue. Stop saying it's not enough and start saying I'm making progress. Perfection condemns you to discontent. Progress motivates you to continue. Epictetus reminded us that the wise man does not seek applause. He seeks to grow in what he can control. And what you can control is your effort today, not perfection tomorrow. Progress also requires patience. Many give up because they don't see immediate results, but forgetting that transformation is slow is a fatal mistake. Seneca taught that nothing valuable is built overnight. Patience is not passivity, it's prolonged discipline, the ability to stand firm even when change is not yet visible. Accepting progress over perfection does not mean settling. It means being smart. It means understanding that taking a step forward today is better than dreaming of an impossible leap tomorrow. Success is not in becoming perfect. It's in not stopping moving forward. When you choose progress, you choose freedom, because you stop being a slave to a non-existent ideal and become the master of your own path. 9. Seek voluntary challenges to grow. Steel is not forged in calm, it is forged in fire. Without heat and without blows, the metal would remain fragile and shapeless. The same happens with human character. It does not strengthen in comfort, but in the challenges you choose to face. Always staying in the easy can give you a life without shocks, but it also condemns you to weakness. Growing implies going through trials, and if they do not come by themselves, you must have the courage to seek them. The Stoics practiced this principle rigorously. Seneca recommended living days of voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, eating the bare minimum, wearing simple clothes, not because they were poor, but because they wanted to train themselves not to depend on the external. This practice revealed that strength is not built when everything is going well, but when you choose difficulty as a teacher. Epictetus also reminded that real progress is showing discipline even when you could choose easy pleasure. The first piece of advice is to introduce small challenges into your daily life. Don't wait for adversity to come to test your character. Get up earlier, train when you don't feel like it, deprive your body of certain luxuries, learn something new that makes you uncomfortable. These voluntary challenges are workouts that prepare your mind for the unexpected blows of life. If you can withstand chosen discomfort, you will better withstand the one that comes without warning. Another step is to test your patience and discipline in contexts where you have no guarantees. Take on difficult projects. Dare to expose yourself to criticism. Seek experiences that take you out of the predictable. Marcus Aurelius reminded that the obstacle is the way. And when you make challenges part of your routine, you stop seeing them as enemies and start seeing them as allies. It is also key to maintain a learning mindset. The challenge is not just to suffer, it is to grow. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this discomfort? What part of me is being strengthened with this challenge? This way you transform pain into lesson, frustration into patience, and falling into resilience. Each difficulty, if faced with this attitude, becomes a teacher. A powerful Stoic exercise is to practice voluntary deprivation. Consciously choose to let go of something you enjoy, not to punish yourself, but to remind yourself that you are not a slave to anything. Sleep less comfortably, reduce your expenses, fast. All this trains your will. It shows you that you can live with less and that your strength does not depend on the external. Seeking voluntary challenges does not mean complicating your life senselessly. It means choosing strategic discomforts to build an unbreakable character. Each accepted challenge is another brick in your internal fortress. And when true adversity comes, it will not find you weak or scared, but prepared. Constant comfort numbs, voluntary difficulty awakens. Whoever seeks challenges becomes master of himself, because he learns that growth always implies discomfort, and that the fire that burns is the same that forges. 10. Practice forgiveness as an act of freedom. Holding a grudge is like carrying a backpack full of stones and pretending to run with it all your life. Each unforgiven offense, each unresolved wound, becomes a weight that wears down the mind and consumes energy. Forgiveness does not erase what happened, nor justify the harm, but it does break the chain that ties you to the past. It is not a gift for the one who hurt you, it is an act of personal liberation. The Stoics understood that anger and resentment are forms of slavery. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That teaching is brutally clear. As long as you imitate hate, you remain trapped in it. Forgiving does not mean forgetting or allowing yourself to be hurt again. It means to stop feeding what consumes you. The one who does not forgive becomes a slave to the same pain he detests. The first advice is to accept that the wound has already occurred. You cannot change what happened, but you can choose how to move forward. Epictetus reminded us that it is not things that disturb us, but our opinion of them. When you cling to resentment, you are choosing to perpetuate the wound. Recognizing that you no longer have control over the past is the first step to letting go. Another practical advice is to separate the act from the person. Someone may have hurt you, but your life should not be defined by that act. Forgiving is recognizing that what happened does not determine you, that your identity does not depend on what others did. That separation gives you back power, because you stop being an eternal victim to become the protagonist of your own story. Forgiveness also requires clear boundaries. It is not about allowing yourself to continue being hurt, it is about freeing your inner self from the burden. Establishing distance, cutting ties, or protecting yourself is not a contradiction, it is coherence. Forgiveness is an internal act, not necessarily an external reconciliation. Finally, remember that forgiving is a strength training. Each time you choose to let go of resentment, you reinforce your resilience. Seneca said that the wise man rises above offense because he knows that pain does not reside in the insult, but in how you receive it. Practicing forgiveness is training that elevation. It is deciding that no one has the right to rule your inner peace. Forgiveness is not about weakness, it is about strength. Only the strong can let go without carrying invisible chains. By forgiving, you do not free the other, you free yourself. That is the true victory, to walk lightly, without backpacks of hate, with a clear mind to continue building. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment "I am Stoic" as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.